Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Tina Blaze, and this is the Tina Blaze Podcast Show. And I am here with none other than Keith L. Brown. Keith, welcome to the show.
First of all, let me say GOODJOB. Good job to you. Tina Blaze. The T is for trailblazing. The I is for inspiring. The N is for noble. And the A is for advocating because you are advocating for everyone to be motivated, elevated, and empowered. So I'm honored to be on one of the premier podcasts on tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. That was beautifully said. No one's ever said that to me. Thank you. I appreciate that. I received that.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes, looking forward to this episode for sure. So I'd love to introduce you guys to Keith L. Brown, aka Mr. I'm Possible. I want to get into that. I love that. I'm possible, very positive. So Keith is actually a motivational speaker, empowerment coach, a mentor, and an education advocate. So definitely looking forward to tonight's episode. So Keith, first of all, where are you from? I'd love to get into that as well.
Okay. Before I say that, let me give a shout out to Adrian Allen from the IPY agency, my purposeful publicist. I was born in Savannah, Georgia, raised in Jamaica, Queens, New York. So I claim both Savannah, Georgia and Jamaica, Queens, New York, that north-south flavor. So that helped shape me into the individual I am today, that north-south flavor. And ironically, that is really the passage for most African Americans in this country. We know that all of our roots, for the most part, started out in the South, and then we migrated to different parts of the country due to, of course, not slavery, but the enslavement of our great people.
Exactly. I was gonna say I couldn't tell where your accent was from. I was thinking the North, but I couldn't tell.
Yeah,
Okay, nice. So you have a nice mixture of both, the best of both worlds.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right, awesome. So I want to get into, I guess, your inspiration becoming a motivational speaker. So was there like a pivotal moment or experience in your life that shifted your path toward advocacy and mentorship?
Actually, it all started during my childhood. During my childhood, I was labeled special ed. I was labeled risk, and I was labeled special ed because they said I talked too much. I was too hyper and I wanted to give all the answers. And so when you look at some of my past report cards from elementary school, it says talkative. I was the one who got all the S's satisfactory, the E's, but then when it came to using indoor tone of voice, I got an NI, which means needs improvement. What's ironic about that, Tina, is those are the same traits that get me booked globally, that I talk too much, I'm too hyper and energetic, and I want
Mhm.
to give all the answers. And so that was the foundation of me speaking on a global level, being labeled and mislabeled like most Black boys are in particular, and Black children in general. And so that led me to, I would say, the pivotal moment was in high school. It was in high school. And let me backtrack, really middle school. At junior high school 231, I won a citywide speak out contest. And I was in special ed winning a citywide speak out contest. And then when I was in high school, I used to recite Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. speeches all through high school. And I knew at that moment that I wanted to motivate and inspire the masses. I didn't know how it was going to happen. Family members always say, "You're going to be a preacher." You know how that goes. Anytime you can articulate well and you have that voice of power, they always say you're going to be a preacher. But I have my own ministry and it's inspiring and empowering individuals across the globe. So I could say that pivotal moment was in my adolescence when I knew, like a surgeon has a scalpel, I knew that the mic was going to be my scalpel and I would be able to perform surgery on hearts, minds, souls, and spirits and uplift them.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I'm so happy that you were able to realize, what your passion was at such a young age. And I feel like a lot of Black people in general, they're misunderstood. They're misunderstood, they're mislabeled, that's just crazy. But I'm glad that you were able to step out of that and realize who you are. And now you're making a change and you're globally known. So that's amazing. Happy for you, for sure.
So much.
Of course. So I wanted to know, how was your upbringing? Because you just mentioned that a little bit. You touched on that a bit. How was your upbringing or educational journey? Like, how did that shape your passion for empowering others?
let's talk about the upbringing because I grew up in a blended family. I
Mm,
like to say I grew up with two moms, two dads, brothers and sisters on both sides. That blended family dynamic where my biological parents did not stay together. And of course, my biological dad married my bonus mom. Okay. And my biological mom married my bonus dad. My bonus dad passed away in 2021 during COVID, and my bonus mom just passed away last week. So it has been a journey losing two of my four parents, but that was a part of the nurturing and the love that I received from all four of my parents. There was still some trauma there. Okay. It was not perfect. There were times when I felt that I was not wanted. Okay. There were times when I felt I was not wanted. And that's what happens oftentimes in a blended family when you don't always grow up with your biological family members. But I inherited some great brothers and sisters. I can say it like that. And it was just a time of nurturing for me. My childhood path led me to a little bit of sports, but mostly it was the fine arts. I can remember performing at the Beacon Theater on Broadway when I was in elementary school with the Gloria Jackson Dance and Theater Company. I can remember being in the Black Spectrum Theater Company, which still exists today in Queens, New York, the Black Spectrum Theater Company, where I developed a love for fine art, a love for theater. And that went all the way through the Savannah State University, where I'm an alum of the Savannah State University, a premier HBCU where you can get anywhere from here. But I also had extended family members, grandparents, aunts and uncles, cousins who loved on me as well. So I spent most of the year in the North in New York, but all of my summers were spent in the South. And family dynamic, family reunions. I'm talking about Easter speeches. Come on, Tina. You might be too young to remember this, but I'm talking about Easter speeches, okay? Where we had to learn that Easter speech, and you had to stand up in front of hundreds and you had to recite that speech. And you know what? That was pivotal in my life as well because I was always being put in a position to speak, in a
mm,
position to motivate, in a position to inspire from my childhood up until. But I want to
mhm,
share this with you and all of your listeners, if I may. I remember vividly being in a class of 35 in elementary school, and I was taken out of that class and I was put into a class of 5. And it was at that moment that I learned that I was small and black and
mm,
different. See, that was a pivotal moment for me when I was taken out of the larger class and I was placed in a smaller class because I shrunk at that moment. But
mm.
I was still nurtured by those teachers who taught me that I was not special ed, but I was special, that I was not at risk, but I would learn to take risks. And I want to tell every parent out there that's listening, if your child has been labeled anything, special needs, ADHD, your child is autistic, if your child has been labeled a slow learner or has an IEP, one of the educational terminologies, your child is not dumb, your child is not stupid, your child is brilliant. Your child just learns at their own pace. And that's very important for parents to understand because there's so much labeling. And you said it, Tina. You said it as a vibrant young black woman yourself. I'm sure there are times when you are oppressed, suppressed, repressed, and depressed by the societal labels that are placed on Black women. So I just want to say something. Listen, don't follow the negative stereotypes of others. Never let anyone's negative opinion of you become your reality. And so my upbringing definitely was the foundation of what you today, Keith L. Brown, Mr. Ampasa.
I love that story. Thank you so much, and thank you for being so vulnerable about your parents and your bonus parents, and I do apologize about the passing as well. Of course, absolutely, but yeah, obviously, you knew that you were different, right, when they took you and put you in a different class, but at the same time, you use that to your advantage, right?
Oh,
To
absolutely.
yeah, and I love that you shared what was it called? Easter speech that you shared with
Oh,
me?
yeah, that was a hallmark of the Black
Yeah.
church. It didn't matter your denomination. Of course, I love individuals of all spiritual backgrounds, but this was the Black church, and it was the African Methodist Episcopal Church. And on Sunday mornings, we would go to church, and then we would come back Sunday afternoon, and every little Black child was given a speech that they had to recite. And that helped many in my generation be effective communicators because a lot of times communication was so important in our families. And if you don't mind, I want to share this because Tina, what has happened is you see a Tina Blaze, and Tina Blaze is extremely articulate. She's a powerful, effective communicator.
Thank you.
And what happens with that is there are those who are going to say, Tina, you talk like white people. Keith L. Brown, you talk like white people. And I want to say to everybody out there, if anyone tells your child or, your adolescent child that they talk too much, that they talk like white people, here's the answer. If talking white means I'm articulate and intelligent, then what does it mean to talk black? Oh, let me say that. Hey, I almost fell out my chair. If talking white means that I'm effective as a communicator, proper, then what does it mean to talk black? And I think that's one of the dynamics that's hurting many Black children and young people today. That when we speak of excellence and they're being excellent, we label them something other than Black. When they are on the honor roll, when they are excelling academically and in the fine arts, we label them something else other than Black. And so if these are beautiful Black children and youth, and we label them something other than their ethnicity, then why would they want to excel? If Black excellence is an anomaly, if Black brilliance is an anomaly, and we know they're not because they're universal, but if Black excellence and brilliance means that only a small percentage of us can acquire that, then why would our young people as a whole universally excel? So I would say this, I want to go ahead and eradicate that notion, get rid of it, that Black people are anything other than Black when they speak with power, efficiency, and effectiveness.
Exactly. I love it. You hit it right on the nail there, seriously, and that's one thing that does bother me a lot because 'cause I've been told that, like, my whole life, and I'm like,
Yes,
"What even mean? How do you speak like a color? That makes no sense. Because 'Cause I'm
yes,
educated and I choose to speak proper. I don't talk like a white person, I talk like Tina Blaze, I talk like a Black woman, that's it,
yes.
you
Come
know?
on, Tina.
So
See, look, Tina, I see you getting fired up now. Don't hold it.
I am
Yeah, don't hold
You
it. Go
started
ahead
it.
this is the deal. It's called Blaze for a reason, okay?
Okay, and I will light you up. You stop.
Okay? You are to be lit. To our young people out there, lit means leaders in training. So if you lit, you are a leader in training. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. No, that I really appreciate you sharing that for sure. And a few more questions for you. I want to know what is your approach when it comes to mentoring someone who feels stuck or uninspired? Like, how do you go about that?
First of all, when it's young people, the first thing I understand is that I must build a relationship. I must
Mhm.
build a relationship with that young person before I give any advice. I don't start when children, a lot of times when they come home from school, their parents will say, what did you learn in school today? And I often tell parents that should not be the first question. The first question should be, how are you today? Not even how was your day, but how are you today? And so when I'm approaching young people who feel stuck, okay, and then I'll get to the adults. When I'm approaching young people who feel stuck, I ask them about themselves. What's going on with you on the inside? And they appreciate that so much more because then they know I'm genuine. So I engage them. I engage them from that perspective. I engage them from the perspective of the fact that you are brilliant. You are exceptionally outstanding. And I believe in them until they are intentional about believing with themselves. So I say this, if you want to really change the trajectory for a young person's life, then you have to connect with them. And connecting with them doesn't mean giving them a bunch of advice. It doesn't mean projecting your parental or that need to be a parent on them. No, I had to learn that it starts with building a relationship with them. It starts with engaging them. I do that in assemblies. I do that in assemblies, face to face. Okay. I start out with music. I let them know that I'm just as lit as you are. I'm not trying to be, all right, a teenager, but I must let them know that I can relate to them. I can relate to what they're going through. That's the reason I have so many of them following me on Instagram and TikTok, because it's important that Uncle Keith, and they call me Uncle Keith, they don't call me Mr. Impossible. Okay. They call me Uncle Keith. And so right there, people say, why do you tell them to call? No, I allow them to call me Uncle Keith because it builds a connection with them. And that's what
Right.
I do. So first of all, you want to build that relationship. Second of all, you want to build that connection. And third of all, you want to engage them, not with advice, but asking them about themselves. In other words, when it comes to young people and mentoring them, we must be more interested and less interesting. And when
Mm,
we do that, then they'll open up. And Tina, I like to say this: I mentor youth, but I coach adults. Okay. And there's a big difference. I mentor youth, but I coach adults. A lot of times adults want other adults to mentor them, but you need to let someone coach you. As a coach, that's what I do. Because a lot of times as a mentor, I'm not always available. I'm not always available as a mentor because I have a busy, productive life as well. But I do make time for my young people. But when it comes to adults, you have to be coached. And with that comes an investment because then you have my time. And a lot of time, let me say this, let me say this and keep it real. A lot of times as adults, we buy what we want, but then we beg for what we need.
mm.
We buy what we want, but we beg for what we need. So I encourage any adult out there who wants to be sharpened, get yourself a coach, someone you can invest in. Like you invest in materialistic items, invest in your personal and professional growth. So that's what I do. Even right here, position for more. That's the position for more. That's the position for more program, the position for more brand. And so that's what I
Mm.
do with adults. I coach adults. I mentor children and young people.
Gotcha. Thank you for sharing the difference. Because I definitely think that obviously when it comes to younger people, a lot of them do need that mentor,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
For sure, no matter what field they're in. And then coaching, that's a different type of style, right? So especially when it comes to
Absolutely.
each group. So that does make sense. I'm glad that you were able to define both of them.
Oh, yeah. And let me say this, mentoring also is extended to college scholars as well. So
Mm,
those
okay.
individuals who are in college, who are still attempting to find their way, and don't get me wrong, there are adults who are finding their way as well. But that's the coaching part because we go in a little deeper and a little deeper when it comes to the coaching aspect because we are building from a personal and a professional standpoint. Because any adult out there, you should be growing personally and professionally, whatever that looks like to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And now I want to get into you staying motivated, right? You're doing so much, you're so busy, and times have changed, right? So it is
Yeah.
hard to stay motivated. So I wanted to know, like, how do you stay motivated and grounded when you're pouring into so many other people?
The first thing that I do is I'm a man of faith. And so I pray and I meditate often. All right. I start my day with meditation. And Tina, I would encourage you to do what I tell my clients and everybody I speak to around the world. I say, when you get out of bed, and this is just a little exercise, when you get out of bed and your feet hit the floor, you just need to start clapping. Why don't you do that for me, Tina? Just indulge me for a moment. Just start clapping right now. Yeah, just start. Okay. Exhale. Now I want you to say,
Mr. I'm possible.
why should I do that?
Why should I do that?
Every morning you wake up and your feet hit the floor, you need to start clapping because it might be the only standing ovation you receive all day. You understand? And so I say that you must get out of bed validating yourself. And I jump up every day. And when I miss a day, I do it twice. I validate myself. And that's how I stay motivated by reminding myself that I have value and that I'm worth it. You'll be surprised that people go throughout an entire day, sometimes a week, looking in the mirror every day. And the only thing they do in that mirror is put themselves down. The only thing they do when they are out there empowering others, inspiring others, but
Mhm.
when they are home, they are secretly putting themselves down. And so I encourage individuals to do what I do. I start in prayer and meditation, whatever your faith is. And then I validate my being and who created me. And I do that. And that's a part of my self care. But even deeper than self care is self I care. See,
Mm,
self care is when you engage in those activities that build your wellness overall. But self I care is when you talk to yourself, Tina, when you
mhm.
remind yourself that Tina has value, that Tina is worth it. And sometimes that's difficult because we don't always feel like we're worth it. We don't always feel like we have value. So that's why I encourage everyone, first of all, validate yourself. And then the next thing I do is I surround myself with people who celebrate me and not people who tolerate me.
Mm,
And that could be family members. That could be family members because Tina, there's some family members I'm good with only seeing them at the family reunion. Okay. There's some
right.
family members, right? You know what I'd say, Tina? Let me say this. Let me say this. You know, it's been said that blood is thicker than water. It's been
Mm,
said that blood is thicker than water. Tina, I often say sometimes, yeah, blood is thicker than water, but sometimes blood clots,
mm,
but water flows. And there are going to be some family members who are blood clots, who are going to cause you to lose your peace of mind, who are going to
mhm,
bring drama and trauma. And so those are not they're your blood, but they are blood clots. And then you have people who you surround yourself with, Tina, who, you know, they're your good friends, those who you take on as family, and they are often the water because they help you to flow and they help your peace of mind. So
right.
tonight, I want all of your viewers to know, or you understand, all relatives ain't family. And
Mm,
so one of the ways that I help my peace of mind and I stay motivated is by surrounding myself with like-minded people. When they're down, I lift them. When I'm down, they lift me. It starts in my home with my own
mm,
wife, with my own son. And very key is that number one, I have God, and number two, I have a therapist. So I'm going to say that, Tina, out loud. I have a therapist on
yes.
call, on call because mental health matters and Black mental health matters. So that's why and how I stay motivated. It's not easy. It's not easy, but I
Mm,
stay motivated because of the intrinsic motivation and the extrinsic
mm,
motivation. So on the inside, and then those external forces around me. Watch this, who I choose to be in company with. Let me say that to your listeners. Listen, outside of going to work, you choose who you spend your quality time with. That's
mhm.
why, because either they will positively affect your life or they will negatively infect your life. And the effect will be profound.
Absolutely. You just dropped so many gems, so many tips. I love that. I'll definitely start applauding myself every morning. I
Yes.
make do it at night too, as well, because
Yeah.
I'm still working on a routine right now. I
Yes.
do pray, I do meditate, but sometimes you need a little bit more. And I do think
Yes.
applauding yourself, even for those small wins, like sometimes I forget to do that. And
Yes.
I feel like I need to start practicing that. And even just writing down my wins for the day, I think that's important for sure. So
Awesome.
thank you for sharing that. No, all of
Awesome.
that, great. Just like you said, the inside and the outside, right? Just feeding
Absolutely.
yourself with like positive affirmations, applauding yourself, like all those things are so important. And thank you again for being vulnerable and shouting out that you have a therapist because I know that a lot of times in the Black community, it is frowned upon or it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
not spoken about a lot,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I definitely think that we need to start talking about that a little bit more because it really is serious. You see a lot of celebrities crashing out right now. I don't want to call anybody out, but Kanye West. So there's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
one. So I do think that therapy is very important for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I've lost close family members to death by suicide. Tragic and great people, God-fearing people, people who loved on others and just faced personal battles. They had help. They were getting help and just faced personal battles that they could not overcome in the earthly sense, in the earthly sense. And so it is so important for us to tap into our mental health. I can't say that enough.
Mm,
It's so important for us to remove the stigma when people get help. In the Black family, what we used to say all the time is this, Tina, you don't need help. Just pray about it. Yeah, you can pray about it, but when you get off your knees, you're going
mm,
to need to get some tools that are going to help you keep your peace of mind, especially in today's climate where we don't know what this administration is doing. Okay. All right. Okay. We have no idea what's going on in the political arena. We have no idea. A lot of times people are going to work every day, not knowing if they're going to get a pink slip on that day.
mhm,
There's so many people being laid off, people battling not having adequate health care. There's just so much violence everywhere, division everywhere. So everywhere you turn, there is something that would cause me to say either you're in a crisis, you just left one, or you're headed towards one. And that's why you need to dwell in environments of peace that build your peace of mind. It is so important because, Tina, at the end of the day, I always say that I'm helping to position people for more, but you will never be positioned for more at a maximum level if you are not protecting your peace of mind. I'm going to be real with you, Tina. I'm going to say it right now. This is real. When my peace of mind is disturbed a great deal, it's even hard for me to worship. It's even hard for me to pray when my peace of mind is disturbed at a
Mm,
high level. I can say that because God is my daddy. He knows my heart. People are out there listening now. They're like, hey, no, did he just say that? I did say it because I keep it real. And when you
it
keep it real, you understand. And then you don't end up in the REEL, you end up in the REAL, where Tina Blaze is. Keep that awesome. So that's what this is about. Yeah,
exactly. No, thank you for being honest. And I think that goes a long way too, right? Just being honest with yourself and with God, and He knows your heart. So
absolutely.
that's all that matters. That's all that
Yes.
matters. Awesome. I want to know, is there like a book or a quote or a principle that kind of changed your life? Like anything that you can think of?
Absolutely. It led me to the youth in the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia calling me Mr. I'm Possible. Yeah, I love the quote, not impossible, I'm possible.
Yes. Yeah.
That changed my life. Not impossible, I'm possible. And
Yeah.
it was a little thing. Think about it, Tina.
Mhm.
If you take a little thing called the apostrophe and you put it between the I and the M in the word impossible, then the word becomes I'm possible. A little thing can change your life in a big way. So I no
Mm,
longer say impossible. I start off like my good friend and first coach, Les Brown, internationally known speaker, Les Brown says, it's possible. And we say it's possible. So I said, I'm possible. And I
mm,
encourage all of your listeners to say, not impossible, I'm possible. And when you say I'm possible, you're starting to take ownership of your life, of your personal life, of your professional life. You're starting to take ownership of your God given gifts and your purpose and your vision. So I encourage everyone to stop saying that's impossible and start saying, I'm possible. That is the quote that changed my life. And that is really the quote that has elevated me personally and professionally in order to elevate others on a global spectrum.
oh, I love it. I love it. No, I feel like everything you say has just been inspiring me more and more, after each second that we're on this call. I love it. That's amazing. That really is. Or do you sell those shirts as well? Or is
Oh,
that
yes,
free?
yes. So we have
Oh,
it. Yes, yes.
not
I'm positioned for more. I'm
gotcha.
positioned for more. We have that. Those can be found at keithlbrown.com, where they're about to launch on the website. So by the end of this week, they will have launched because they're new. But right now, we have other shirts as well. One of the shirts we have, our top sellers, is called We Gon' Make It Anyway. We gon' make it anyway. GON apostrophe, right? GON, not we going to make it or we're going, no, we gonna make it anyway. Yeah, watch this. And you have to say the anyway part because a lot of times when people say we gonna make it, that could be negative or positive. We gonna make it. But when we say we gonna make it anyway, that
Anyway.
lets us know we're gonna go through trials and tribulations. We're gonna have obstacles and challenges. But guess what? If we do the work, if we
Mm,
don't give up, if we don't give in, guess what? We gonna make it anyway. And when we say we gonna make it anyway, guess what? We will be positioned for we will be positioned for more. Absolutely.
absolutely. Amen. I love it. I want to end on another question for you. You just shouted out that website. So I wanted to know if you can share, I guess, where can my listeners find you? If you can share like your social media accounts, things of that nature.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, the website is keithlbrown.com, KEITHLBrown.com. Um, anyone who would like to book me for an engagement, an appearance like Tremendous Tina did, you can go ahead and hit up Adrienne. That's ADRIENNE at IPYagency.com. Adrienne at the IPYagency.com. And also you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Keith L. Brown underscore. I have to do that because that's the underscore. Keith L.
Okay.
Brown underscore on TikTok and Instagram. Keith L. Brown 1911, Keith L. Brown 1911 on Facebook, and Keith L. Brown, Mr. Impossible. People say, why 1911? Shout out to Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, the brothers
Okay.
of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I'm a long time Omega, over 37 years now, I believe. And so shout out
Mhm.
to the Divine Nine as well, that does a lot of great work in our communities across the globe. But yes, Keith L. Brown _ on Instagram. That's probably everybody's favorite. Hit me up, follow, shoot me a DM if you're interested in any coaching, because that's what we're doing now. Tina, first week in May, I'm about to kick off our new coaching program, On Position for More. They can definitely, if you're looking to expand your impact,
Mhm.
influence, and income, come on to the I'm Position for More coaching program. Just shoot me a direct message and I got you covered.
Awesome. All right, folks, you heard that. Make sure you follow Keith L. Brown. And this was great. Thank you so much. I love that share. I definitely need to get one of those.
I
Um,
got you. Tina,
oh,
look, I got you. Yes.
thank you. No, I appreciate that. And that was actually, I did forget to ask you this question. You
Yeah.
just touched on it. Any other new projects or mentorships that you're working on for
Ab-
this year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. May 8th is the kickoff for
Okay.
the I'm Position for More
Mhm.
virtual coaching experience. It's a 4-week experience. It's going to help individuals find their voice, tell their stories effectively. It's going to help them become better speakers, communicators, entrepreneurs. It's going to help them increase their impact, influence, and income. Because
Mm.
we always talk about impact and influence, but we need to talk about income as well, don't we? Because we deserve more. So I'm going to help position you for more. And I'm going to give them my personal email address on this one, klbconnects@gmail.com. So my business email is keithspeaks@keithlbrown.com. But for those of you who are serious, hit me up. Hit me up if you know you want to increase your impact, influence, and income. Send me an email at my personal email address. I don't ever do that. KLBconnects with an S at gmail.com. KLBconnects@gmail.com. And tell your friends about the Tina Blaze show. Do that right now. Go tag somebody and let them know they need to be tuning in to the Tina Blaze show. That's right. Do that because
Got
she
it.
brings it all the time.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. I love the hype. Thank you for the shout out. I appreciate it. And thank you for everything. This was wonderful. To be honest with you, this is probably one of my best, if not the best episode so far.
All
So
right.
thank you. Thank you for dropping all those gems. I'll definitely utilize them moving forward. And I really hope that my listeners will as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tina. GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. Tina, keep blazing trails. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
I appreciate that, Keith. I'll talk to you later. Have a
Absolutely. Be empowered.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.